that is sitting on top of 4 repair stations.
One artillery shell, Mr. Nitro. One artillery shell.
Devastating. That would be devastating.
2 Tigers and Paradox teaming up on that 76. They take them down.
Does not shoot the garrison against Splattered instead.
What the hell, Wolves of War, 82 AD, Esprit de Corps Gaming, Refuze, The Line, Extreme Dinosaurs, Gary Busters Incorporated, Team Phoenix, Alpha, Helios, Greyhounds, Orbital Drop Shot Troopers, Polish Veterans, Chimera, Invictorous, Snow Leopard Knights, International Code Flag, Eastern Group, Infiltration, Syndicate, The Circle.
Okay, and we're now live-ish, 30 minutes in the future we'll be live, but hello to everyone, I'm S-Tech, and today I have a very special guest. I'm going to say for one time only, because I'm not sure what his schedule's like, but one time only, Mr Nitro is back casting Hell Let Loose with me as my very special co-caster, so hello Mr Nitro, how are you today?
Hello, good morning. I'm feeling great today. Still waking up a little bit, but very excited to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, you're very welcome. I was just, I saw you guys, you wanted to volunteer to cast this match as well, so I thought, why not split the load, and no one better to split it with than a veteran such as yourself with how many seasonals now casting?
Oh, God, it must be maybe 4 seasonals-ish?
It's a lot
At
of
least
seasonals.
4. Yeah.
This is probably my first one, I think.
Really? Yeah, no, I think you're right. Yeah, it's been great. I loved casting, and it was nice to get a little break, and it's always nice to be like a guest on someone else's cast, because I just got out of bed and made a coffee, and like all the because as a caster, like we all know, the amount of work it takes to put on one of these streams. So
it's not the easiest thing in the world,
Yeah. And so I very much appreciate when I can just get up and jump into VC and pretty much get a front row seat to a game. And this should be a really, really good game today.
I certainly hope so. Refuze has been one of the best teams historically, but recently they've had kind of like a bit of a roller coaster performance-wise. It's been a bit up and down. One week you'll see very scary Refuze who just comes in, shits on everyone and leaves with no further explanation, and then the week after you'll see the Refuze that just gets their skull caved in, and you don't really know which one's going to show up on the day. It's a bit it can be a bit jarring, get a bit of whiplash.
A bit of a toss-up, especially for a team like Chimera, who obviously both of these teams are facing elimination, and so you really got to wonder, the kind of headspace as a Chimera player, right?
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
This team who, like you said, historically has been great, but the last couple of weeks or so, or last couple of matches, has been really kind of back and forth. So I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. I'm not surprised we're on a more conventional map today, like SME.
Yeah, especially as you get around to the end of the tournament. The burden of
right.
prep on the maybe, if you're lucky, 10 people across a team of 80 people, so you got about 10% of the team really chugging through prep week after week.
Right.
tends to be that you know, obviously, you know, please ignore greyhounds and extreme dinosaurs when I make this point, but when you get towards the end of the tournament, you tend to see more conventional maps because the people that are prepping have been prepping for like 2 months now, week in, week out, and it becomes very, very draining on those guys. So if you can, like, towards the end of the tournament, like, you start to see more safe, more conventional maps. That's why you see a lot of finals on like Utah or SMDM or SME rather than you know, El Alamein or I'm going to say Foy. Foy's not like Foy used to be a conventional map, but now it's kind of like fallen off a bit. I think people
I
aren't
used
willing
to
to
love
take
watching
that.
Foy games.
I think it's kind of a risk, right? Foy's kind of a risk.
Yeah, because it's God, is it the northernmost point? That's just like it GG easy for one of the teams.
Yeah,
I can't
West
remember.
Bend.
West Bend, yeah,
is just like good luck if you're the allies, you know, and especially with only one artillery gun. There's just no way to push the infantry out of it because you have to either cross through these huge open fields or like grind through the forest. And without the arty cover, it's like not really possible to do. But,
right.
So we're seeing SME today. Fingers crossed, you know.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be SME, or also known as Hospice Simulator.
Yeah.
At least that's what it feels like sometimes.
Yeah, honestly, I think I've casted like 2 or 3 games this year of SME, maybe more, and I'm pretty sure all of them have been hospice. Like,
Yeah, that does not surprise me.
I don't know why,
because
because
you know, I like Hospice.
it's a
I
good
like
point.
playing
I just wish I
Hospice.
didn't have to look at all the time, look at it all the time. You know, like it's not the most exciting thing. You know, once you've seen it once, you've seen it you've seen it 1,000 times. You know, it's one of those things.
Right, and at this point, all these teams know how to play Hospice. Like for Refuze, for example, who I think are playing Axis. Do I have that right? I want to say Refuze's Axis here.
I think no, we're playing this game. RF is playing Allies, and Chimera is playing Axis. So Chimera should have the advantage if it's Hospice.
Right.
So the Axis have safer truck routes because they're coming with the cover from the buildings more until you get into the point. You've got the 3-story and the hard cap, which is very difficult to clear once they're in there. It's like trying to exercise a tick from the point, you know, once you've got a couple of guys up there. And there's quite a few glitched MG positions on the Axis side where you can get up onto the chimneys, as we saw like a new way of doing from IR the other week when Indra and I casted this game.
Okay.
So it's like it's very difficult to recap Hospice because you've got like this huge void, this massive open field in front of it for the allies, and once you get pushed into that field, it's going to take like a small miracle or like a very, very good tank push to get you back across the field.
Yeah, I think, and I feel like there are very few games where I've seen Hospice flip personally. And there are a couple of really, really close games that come to mind. This is at this point 2 seasons, maybe 3 seasons ago. There's a really, really exciting game. It was like TL versus SGN. I don't know if SGN is even still a team. I don't think they are.
Well, they're probably part of SLKIR and, you know,
Alpha,
the Chinese teams kind of like. So the way I understand it, the game has flipped. So I don't know if we're starting. You know?
I didn't see all the Refuze players in. It was only about half the team. So I don't think we're
I was going to say that would be kind
Which
of.
I should ask, by the way. I assume I should join Chimera.
Yeah. You join Chimera. Okay. I'm not 100% sure who their arty player is, but
I'll figure it out. I'll ask. But yeah, I think that's it's exciting to see when Hospice finally does flip. I don't know. Oh
yeah, I mean, Hospice tends to be one of the points that so you join Allies now, join Chimera.
Allies, yeah.
Hospice tends to be one of those points that you kind of if you don't flip it immediately, then it's kind of Jova, you know? Like, it tends to be one of those points. So I think XD, we played it versus 82 or ESPT, someone good recently, and I think we lost first cap, but we managed to flip it on Hospice quite soon afterwards, because it's one of those ones where if you get pushed out completely, if you get boxed out of the point, it's like basically impossible to get back in. so you have to keep your tanks alive on, especially like the Stuarts. The Stuarts are really, really fucking critical on Hospice, because if you can keep them alive in good positions to push the infantry from crossing the road, but if the Axis infantry can cross the road, that's when it like your push is over, because then you're boxed out by the STGs in close quarters versus like Garans and stuff, and it becomes like way more difficult. In my experience, anyway.
Right, and you certainly have more experience playing Comp Hell Let Loose than I do. It's kind of funny. I think since I actually stopped casting games, at least mostly stopped casting games, I've just been actually having a really good time playing Scrim. So for me, this is like an HLL renaissance for me. I know a lot of players get kind of burned out, and for me, I'm just like, you know what? It's kind of nice just to play some scrims and kind of get a better feel for comp for me, because most of my time has just been up in the air in admin camp. It's very different.
It's kind of hard to. I think being a player makes you a better caster. I think there aren't that many people that can do both. So people like Indra and Bueno, Ginger, Slushy all come to mind for me as like really good new casters.
Right,
because,
I agree.
Because we've got kind of a view of how the game should look. If we spend week in week out looking at kind of strat sketches and stuff for Hospice or SME or whatever, then we tend to get like a better idea of how the game should look. So it's easier to then it's easier to then like say, oh, this is wrong or this is good, this is what I would do. It gives you extra talking points, so the cast can be a bit more full.
Yeah, you just bring that experience and knowledge to the table. It gives the stream, I think, a little more substance, which is nice. I can see your screen, by the way, so thank you for that.
Yeah, I was just swapping over.
And even something as simple as just like knowing where to look for games.
Yeah.
I think being able to know like, hey, we're there's an hour left in the game. This is where the action's going to be. Let's take a look at the maps. Now you get an idea of what's going on, and you can anticipate what teams need to do in order to secure the win.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's something to be said as well for making sure that if you're an infantry player, that if there's a co-caster available who's a tanker, experienced tanker, then like it's always worthwhile asking for a tanker as your co-caster if they're available. So I would always suggest Phoenix or Farnix or Lord Jameson, the DC, XDC, XD British tank commander, because he's really fucking like smart at the game, like a really, really good tank player. So it's like it's nice to see when you open the map that they're gonna be able to say, oh, with this much fuel, this much time on the clock, then this is what I would do. This is what tank play I would make here. It just gives you something a little bit of je ne sais quoi. Bit of contrast.
Yeah, no, it's definitely awesome. I think and one thing I always love about seasonal specifically, and I know we're getting kind of close to the end here, and there's less games to cast. So I always love to see, particularly like when I was on Orga for seasonal, seeing casters just pair up, and you get those two personalities that just work really well together on stream.
Yeah.
And I think the quality of streams has just increased so much recently. And I think that's great for the community. I think we have people who are still excited about Hell Let Loose after all these years. Is this seasonal number 7, 8?
A billion. Let's just call it a billion and move on.
Yeah, it's been quite a few
old
seasonals.
as shit,
and
man.
so, yeah, I mean, this is a small community, obviously, so it's very nice to see people who still have that, that drive to
passion,
to play these games and get them streamed. It's fucking awesome.
As much as I love to love the game, I also love to hate it. So,
yeah.
as a grizzled veteran, it's like one of those things that if I see something that's like stupid, I'll always take the pot shot at the game. Mid-cast, I'll like take a moment to just have a fucking rant, because like the game on it must have been GBI versus Refuze. I had like a 5-minute rant about how much I fucking despise repair station meta. Like I hate it. I just don't think that you should be able to build like 1 billion repair stations and then your tank become immortal. I just think that's so crap. It's just like, it's something that I absolutely despise. And then as it happened, you know, they build the bunker over the repair stations, and then the tiger just gets fucking P-striked right next to them, and I look like the biggest moron, as if like, what the fuck is this guy complaining about? You know, like it's a complete tool.
That's amazing. My favorite thing I've ever seen with repair stations was they were on TL at the time, but Mr. Dude, Bossman, and Atrocity, who now play for XD. It was, I think it was on SME, actually. No, it was the Utah game. And the point was WN7, the southernmost point. And they just had their tank propped on top of 4 repair stations to peek over a hedge. They made stilts out of repair stations. I was like, this is it's the most genius yet stupid thing I've ever seen, and it worked for them. So
there's just so much dumb shit in this game that, like, if anyone stopped to think about for more than 30 seconds, then they go, what? You know, like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There was a point where anti-tank guns were disgusting because they just, like, 2-shot tigers. You know, you just, like, whack up 2 AT guns next to each other in under a minute and then just 1-shot a tiger out of render distance, right? And that's, like, that's bad too. But I was co-casting for Kindrick, a game with 82 AD, and it was... Oh, we've got 60 seconds till we're live.
Okay, sounds good.
Looks good to me. We were co-casting a game for 82, and Siege had his tiger behind this hedge, and there was like 4 repair stations, and some of them were in a bunker, right? And I counted, and the AT gun hit the... It was turret hits, but it hit the turret of the tiger 17 times, and the tiger took 0 damage. And I was just there like, I know they're hitting turret, right? And I know that it's just an AT gun, but fuck me, 17 times and the tiger's taken no damage. You know, something's got to change, surely.
The tank meta... I feel like there's times where it just gets really, really stale. Like, okay, they're going to kite this hedge, they're going to back up.
Yeah, I mean, there's just... That's the problem with a lot of games, though, is that once people become technically competent at them, like, the skill ceiling looks boring.
Right.
Whereas, like, when you go and cast, like, a Div 3 ECL game, right, and you've just got Stuarts driving around killing tigers and stuff, and you're just there like, the fuck is going on here, you know? Like,
oh, you love to see that. Yeah.
It's just, like, there's an amount of inherent randomness in lower games that just make the... make it a bit more zesty, you know?
Right. Right. Let me see if I can find... Okay, I found my squad. Wow, it's been a minute since I've done this. It looks like we are going to get an SME midpoint, though. That is exciting.
Yeah, it's exciting for Refuze. And they've got the diagonal set up as well, so... like, that's pretty good for them. So, like, for the uninitiated...
Right.
Like, the reason that it's good is that my brain doesn't work.
That's okay. Well, you get yourself set up in AppCam. Yeah, it's obviously better because if Refuze takes SME, look at and if you pull up your map here for a moment, look at all the ground Chimera would have to cover. To get to artillery battery, right?
It's a long way, and it's quite like open as well.
Right.
So. Like the reason SME is really good for the allies, in effect, is that the angles that the opening medium for the Axis can peak are very limited. So you tend to run into the problem where you have to come up on one of these 2 streets in front of me with the P4, and then you peak this corner or this corner, and that's it. Like, that's all you can do with it, because the time constraints of getting it up through the other streets to more south of the map are too limited. Right. And then you end up with only one place you can peek, but you still end up basically stuck on this corner. And, like, either way, that's just fucking, like, it's so ass. It feels so bad.
Yeah. As infantry just trying to push, that is a test of mental strength.
Well, yeah, because
trying to break through that.
The medium Sherman can be, like, literally fucking anywhere. Like, there's no, you know, there's no constraints, there's no walls, the houses are much better positions. You park the medium Sherman here and you can basically peek any angle that the P4 can go. And if the medium has freedom, it means that the lights have freedom to move where they want, so they're like sweeping up infantry. Like, it becomes much more difficult for the Axis to do anything, so I think that Refuze would be actively griefing if they didn't didn't cat first here.
As far as openers, what are we looking at here? I don't know if you want to pull up maps or I'm also probably going to make sure that works.
It does work.
It looks like as far as Chimera, looks like a couple trucks down the south in 6 and 7 row. Light tank's going to be down south as well. Another light and the medium coming up just straight up the middle, and then one more truck in the north.
Yeah, nothing too interesting for the Allies either. Just a few transport trucks. Medium's going towards the south. A couple of Stuarts and a recon tank, but I can't see any snipes. Oh, there's 2 recon tanks actually. I can't see any. It looks like they're driving an SL and a spotter like really far to the south. So maybe they're looking for a quick cap onto Ruda harass by sweep, like moving around. But
yeah,
no snipes.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any snipes from either team actually.
Nothing too zesty. It looks like they're just going to drive straight in there and scrap.
A couple of rockets.
Couple of rockets. Yeah.
The cemetery. Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah, not really close at all.
No, I think it was going for that supply truck, but like a couple of rockets from RF. Maybe that connects. Pretty close, but like it was. He'd actually goofed it. He was stood like a meter too far back. So the rocket actually fizzled. So the Allies' rockets only fires 750 meters.
I actually did not know that. Interesting.
And the German rockets fly 950 meters, plus or minus a little bit of leeway on the far elevation, you know.
Okay.
So it was why the rocket snipes for Germans were so much more powerful in the 3 RT gun meta.
Well, this is interesting. Refuze, I mean, it seems to be taking ground very quickly. They obviously have control of the church. Looks like a couple of players and SLs down in the south as well.
They're fucking all over this place like a rash. They've got the like I said, the medium is going to be a bit slower for RF because they've gone more south, but it doesn't matter because the P4 can't fucking do anything. Like, it's stuck in Narnia. And look, it's on one of the 2 streets that I said it was going to peak, and it can't do anything other than that because it's a crap point for the Axis.
Looks like actually one of the Refuze AT players actually got somehow managed to get behind them.
He's gone a long way around.
Get a couple of sneaky. Yeah.
Eden's like a really good shot as well. He's not just handy with the rocket, he's handy with the rifle too. So
yeah, and this player's not pinging any garrisons or OP, so they shouldn't know he's back there. We'll see how he does here in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, maybe he can get around the back and kill the P4 because he's completely uncontested. Got some action in the back gardens. All of RF's outposts are flagged because these gardens are just going to be like constant tension. Preday's going around the back as well. It looks like I am finally going to have use for... Oh, get shit on, I guess. Looks like I'm finally going to have use for my French wig as RF are capping. Yippee!
Yes, yeah, that's a great cap from Refuze. He didn't actually also manage to take down Chimera's only garrison closest to the SME. So the only garrisons for Chimera are up in D3 and D7 right now. So that's not looking great for them right off the rib. To lose your garrison and lose the clip, that's going to be a little tough to recover.
Yeah, I mean, Chimera are already up on the roofs, which is kind of, you know, standard shit. Same shit, different day.
Right.
Like... P4's sort of where you'd expect the P4 to be, still a bit novel from RF's medium. Outposts are still pretty hot to the south. So I think, for me, I think that Chimera kind of over forced south, and they should have overloaded north. So
yeah,
I think,
and it seems like it didn't even pay off in the south because they don't even have much ground. Most of the players are still on their side of the street.
Yeah, I mean, they're lighting up the outposts, but those outposts are slowly going clear. I mean, for me, I would have overloaded the north because I don't think you can ever... I think like it's going to be pretty rare that you cap SME hard point as axis first. So, like, you should... The conventional wisdom in my mind says that you should basically always be playing for a recap at this point. And if you're playing for a recap and your point is route to harass, then you should overload hospice and mansion, and then push in from the north.
Yeah, and it looks like there are a decent amount of OPs in the north from Chimera to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in like the first 2 rows there near hospice. But even then, there's still plenty of Refuze players there trying to fight for that ground as well. So it's not gonna come easy. It looks like the Stewart from Refuze is up there as well. So it's gonna make it a little tough for the infantry up here.
You can see Chiara and Timus. So we've got a recon tank and a recon squad leader pushing up around in around route to harass as well. So they're going to start looking for garrisons and supply trucks, but I don't think they're going to be enough.
Tanks back there. They the Tiger's just coming up from spawn in the north as well. So
they're going to get caught.
Yeah, I think that the Tiger's going to turn around perhaps and maybe take care of this Greyhound.
The Greyhound can see a supply truck though. So long as they can trade out this supply truck, then... Oh, he's completely whiffed that.
Oh,
I bet you hope. I bet you wish I didn't see that, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no!
Oh dear, pal. Who's that? Who's gunning there? I don't know. This is going on your permanent record, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh no, please!
Oh no!
Oh
please,
no! I beg.
Come on, I believe. 4 times the charm.
No!
They've given up on the endeavor.
Oh my god.
They could get behind the Tiger, maybe get a shot into the ass. It's
That was
going up that
just...
yellow road.
That was so dreadful. That was fucking awful.
That was unfortunate to see. Yeah, you hate to see that.
That was not good. That was suboptimal.
I am looking just going down the road from north to south on SME, just this main road, and yeah, it looks pretty static, which I assume it will be for a little while. I'm sure it'll take a little bit of time for one team or the other to break through. It's going to take something sneaky, like a couple players getting in the back line, I think.
Yeah. I mean, we can see
Refuze
now trying to set up like some backline garrisons. They've got a supply truck going through.
Right.
And supply truck going through, and we've also got the recon SL behind and the recon tank behind as well. Although I wouldn't trust that recon tank to do the square root of fuck all after that, to be honest with you. Like, they've just completely lost my faith. So we've got the first Tiger coming up as well.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be up in the north here. Looks like in D4-ish. Do you know where the 76 is for Refuze?
It is... There's one in base, there's one in HQ still, so they might actually just not have lost any tanks, so their tank crews aren't bothering to bring it up yet, so I imagine,
I'm still
like...
seeing the medium down here as well, so yeah.
It would be great if one of their leftover tankers from one of the flex crews would start to bring that up, maybe, you know, like maybe we get one of the Stewart drivers or something to bring that up, and then they can swap tanks over. Because I mean, like, one of the things that you can do, which is really good for lots of these city maps, is if you build a repair station somewhere in the hard cap, and then you can park your recon or your like medium or light tank that's like not being used anymore. You can park it next to that, and then it won't expire. And then if you lose a tank or you need some cap weight, some safe cap weight, like potentially with this recon tank that they've parked here actually, you can then jump back in the hard cap and help swing the cap weight, you know.
Yeah, I saw that happen in a DC game actually. I think it was DC versus ESBT on Utah, where DC just stacked 2 Greyhounds on a hard cap, and they were just sitting there for people to jump in, and it was just it's free cap weight. And
yeah, you can even do it as infantry as well, and you're safe from artillery and all that kind of shit, you know. Like, it's just we're starting to see Refuze cap rid of harass actually. With just the recon tank and the recon SL in the hard cap, and the recon tank's not even in the hard cap. We've just had a redeployment from Chimera, and they're going down to the Greyhound there. The cap.
Yeah,
has stalled.
it's really, they just lost their garrison. There's only one OP right now, and that is Shaz's OP. But Chimera have 0 garrisons in the sector, and that, in fact, the closest garrison is closer to SME than it is to Route de Haras.
They did get the they did clear the Greyhound, so they shouldn't be too worried now, as long as one of them can stay in the hard gap. But Eden has sort of walked. I'm not even sure he's died, but I'm pretty sure he's just walked through the whole map.
Yeah.
He's got his satchel AT load out, and they're starting to cap again. Big
Yeah, it
spawn
looks like
wave
the
off that
garrison finally
OP.
did go up. Yeah.
I guess
yeah,
Timus
that
wasn't
should be-
actually recon. That's my mistake. But he's just got a huge spawn off that OP, so he's kind of whammoing it basically.
Yeah, and I can see Chimera sending players up from their garrison in D5. So we're going to have a couple of SLs head up there. I think that's going to be
rough.
a bad reset. And in fact, if you want to pull up the maps really quickly just to see the situation for Chimera, there's 0 presence in SME anymore.
Yeah.
The team has completely reset.
They've reset,
to try to
yeah.
say this.
As I said, they've overcommitted south. You can see from the map that they've overcommitted south.
Right.
And like it's cost them because they didn't have pressure on hospice. RF has controlled hospice, and then they can attack the rest for free.
Wow, that's insane that one squad has essentially reset the entire Chimera team.
Yeah, I mean it's
That's
nuts.
really
Like,
impressive.
that should never have been allowed to happen.
Right. And all it takes is one squad leader to get back there. And,
Yeah, I mean,
obviously they had the Greyhound there as well. But
he was sat in the Greyhound, right? So
right.
I think he was sat in the Greyhound if I'm remembering correctly.
Well, regardless, it looks like we're seeing Puma's coming up to help Victor Haras. The Tiger even is backing up.
Jesus.
And so in sector for SME, there are literally 2 Chimera players. That is it.
Yeah, that's rough.
And 3 now it looks like, but still, that's
mean,
gonna be
RF has
great
been-
for Refuze though.
Yeah, RF have been reset, but out of Rue de Haras. But they've got players up in hospice already. They've pushed their outposts up on the front line by about 150, 200 meters, and they're putting shots onto the Tiger here as well with I think 80 players. So
Once this Tiger goes down, if they're able to take down the Tiger, I think
it's fine now. I think they're
to
pretty
get this
safe. I
ground.
think they'll just pull back.
Yeah.
And RF are going to lose that front line outpost. Speff and Berlin take him down.
Yeah. Well, now it's going to be a grind in the north. I doubt Chimera commits as many players down in the south. It looks like most of the southernmost SLs are just going straight toward SME from the west. And the rest of the SLs are just going to have to push in the north and retake hospice, because that's completely lost.
I think there's a lot to be said for resetting everyone and pushing like as a group along a front line, because a lot of the time you see one squad get pushed outright, and then you try and take the whole area that you got pushed out of by yourself, and that's just like asking for trouble, because if you lose a 1v1, then it becomes much harder. So if you reset more uniformly across the front line, then it becomes a lot easier to press up, because you don't create dog legs, because dog legs is where you get people sneaking through. It's almost exactly like rugby or football or something. When you create space, but a dog takes out a police shot in the back there with his STG. But when you create these dog legs, that's when people start to sneak through.
Yeah,
We've got
absolutely.
the Puma pushing in the north as well, actually. Maybe that can clear out the garrison.
Yeah, this will be interesting. 3 people in that Puma as well. Looks like the infantry is going to be moving up that main road there toward hospice. And yeah, I mean, even in the south, it looks like all the OPs are lighting up for Chimera as well. So Refuze should be taking ground here directly. It looks like they are doing that. That Puma almost goes down.
He completely
They're
gave
playing
the
a
rocket
very
line.
dangerous game. Yeah.
Oh, he's guessed he's in a different spot. Maybe he can get a shot off before the...
Oh no, that's tragic. He just got deleted.
Yeah, he got turned into a loose pile of spaghetti bolognese, as I like to say.
Ah, that's great. Yeah, so
Some
15 minutes
pistol
in,
action
this is
going
looking
on.
very good for Refuze.
Yeah, I
As
mean,
much
it's
as
solid,
the
isn't it?
fighting
Like, this is exactly what you hope that the match will look like. Josh makes the cardinal sin of attempting to use a machine gun in an area that is not completely cleared, so just immediately gets shot in the side.
Yeah. As an MG player, I always, I struggle with the MG personally. I feel like every time I get on a roof, I get instantly headshot. But I also realize in comp, MG is very different than MG in pubs, where you're 300 meters back and you're covered by your team.
Yeah, I mean, public games are too random. I find a lot of the time. There's
Right.
You can't predict that level 17 Jimmy isn't just like wandering aimlessly through your backline, and then just hears the MG42 by accident. There's nothing to say that he's not just going to do that, and so it becomes like a lot more, a lot more random, and it's like a lot harder to farm kills. But in comp, when the game's a bit more structured, a bit more like evenly matched, you tend to kind of get more predictable lines of fire, I think, as well, because like when the front line's more evenly spread, you don't tend to get like overwhelmed from one direction very often, so it's like it becomes a lot more predictable and easy to manage.
Right.
You also get shot in the head a lot more in comp because people actually know the MG spot, so it's kind of like give and take of the Lord giveth with one hand and he taketh with the other.
Well, it looks like Chimera managed to get one SL in the backline over at SMU. P5 looks like it's Jam's squad. Not sure if they're. Looks like they did lock out that garrison.
Yeah, they've locked out the garrison, and they cleared another garrison that was behind in towards the cemetery. So hopefully that causes some issues for
Refuze.
For Refuze.
Yeah, looks like at least one SL. He's gonna come back and investigate. Yeah, that's just something that he's got to send a couple guys. It's not a huge deal to overcommit to that, but gotta make sure your backline's taken care of. And Kingsley is gonna get the frag on the SL who spawned there, so that squad is still up and running.
Yeah, I mean they've just got that garrison, and we can see them on the flare. So and they're getting a second garrison on the front line. So Refuze have spread out a bit, and that's going to cause them some issues, I think.
Yeah, there are definitely, as you said, the dog legs. So we're starting to see that. There are some gaps in the line, and it's allowing players to actually get through. Jam and his squad are still back here on SME.
Looks like the Refuze 76 took some hits on SME, so...
And that Tiger is coming up just south of Rita Ross as well now, too. So they are going to be pushing that road toward SME.
I think, so the way you cap Rita Harass isn't by attacking Rita Harass. You have to first control Hospice completely, and then you have to control West Bend, because you can't attack it directly over the fields, because there's just too many like hedges, and like there's like a few like wooden carts and shit that you can just mount the MGs on too easily.
Right.
So it becomes like it's like very difficult to just attack front on. So you want to tie up as many of the infantry you can in Hospice, and then you want to push out of West Bend. As you can see, like Chimera are doing like a really good job of holding on to West Bend and the area immediately in front of it at the moment. So there's going to be some close garden-to-garden fighting, and that's going to really favour Chimera with the access to double STG squads.
Yeah, well, here's the problem, though. It looks like they just lost their West Bend garrison, and this is something that we're seeing. Garrisons are going down like crazy in this game, which, I mean, great work for the squads who are actually, like, finding them and taking them down, but that actually is going to reset a lot of these squads here. If these OPs go down, I anticipate Chimera could lose West Bend in the next minute or two if they don't do something about this. That Tiger's going to have to help the infantry, but there's only one player in the Tiger, and it's probably just someone driving it up, I assume. There's a medium tank coming up as well. And it looks like a light. So there are going to be 3 pieces of armor here for Chimera.
Oh,
Supplies coming in now as well.
So we've got an AT guy on top of the Tiger, but I think he's a bazooka. Yeah, he must have a bazooka. So he's obviously tagged it twice, killed the guys that have got out, and now he's just fucking them. It's the technical term, he's just fucking them.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing.
He's just giving them the business.
I do like to see that Chimera is getting a bit of a push one from the south as well.
Well, they must know he's here. Sorry, I'm fascinated with how this plays out.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he goes down, he gets pissed, or get shit on.
That's great though. Way to put the Tiger out of commission for a few minutes.
Yeah, it's great. It slowed them down, and their Refuze 76 was pushed up, and now it's had to retreat because there's infantry that are infiltrating the town, and they've just lost the garrison up in the north. So it's a bit hairy at the moment. You know, the situation's not as cut and dry, but they made good progress up into West Bend. They're starting to take over West Bend, which is really important because you've got like a bunch of good MG positions in West Bend that you can use to rude harass.
Yeah.
Oh no, it was intended.
This is going to be interesting for Chimera because their attack is essentially being spearheaded in West Bend, and they have lost pretty much all of their progress in any of any sector for SME. I mean, Hospice, they got a couple guys up in the north that just kind of playing map edge, a couple of players south of SME, but for the most part, they're pushed back and are essentially defending West Bend right now. It doesn't seem to be.
Yeah, Charlie squad with Magua, Brady, and Syrah just lost their outpost in West Bend, but until that point, they were pushed right up there, right in the mix. And I think it's the first time that they've had an outpost. I think they're going to need to, once they clear the garrison in West Bend, it's going to be like a really different story because their front line's still really solid across there, and they've got a garrison that's pretty close, and their 76 is pushing up as well. So we might see a fight between the 76 and the Tiger soon. But I think if they're smart, they'll use the Lux as a meat shield and just use it to tank a shell from the 76, you know, to make it a bit more difficult.
I was about to comment that Chimera had 2 squads making ground south of SME, but Refuze spawned a squad of their own, and they've essentially wiped most of that progress. So it was looking good for a moment, but I mean, the response from Refuze it's really timely. It was very quick, and
yeah,
they know what they're doing here.
I mean, one of the things that Refuze are really good at is responding to threats. I think so. There's a danger in Hell Let Loose where you over respond. So there are some points, I think, like there are some teams that are particularly that they've been burned before by not responding fast enough, so they tend to like over respond. So the team that comes to mind for me most obviously for that is the Circle. So when the Circle start to lose a defensive point, they basically reset their entire front line immediately.
Right.
Which hurts them because obviously it resets any offensive pressure, and it doesn't matter how serious the threat is, they like really over respond. But I think in general Refuze have got that down to like a fine art of knowing actually how many people they need to send. You know?
Right. And I think that's just really good game sense from Refuze. And obviously, you can see if you're seeing 6 OPs light up all across your backline, that's a serious issue. But for the most part, send 1 squad or 2 tops, and
exactly.
Most of the threats. Pretty good focus here up in the north at a Hospice. Chimera have got at least 2 full squads.
And they've cleared the garrison as well that was there.
Okay, yeah, they're making a little bit of ground. Wow, I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4 OPs in garrison up here. They're really going to be committing a lot of manpower here.
Yeah, I mean it's the only way. It's you have to prevent them from. You have to prevent them from getting a foothold there, because otherwise that's when they can
start knocking on your front door.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see. There was a sneaky red zone garrison from Chimera way down in F7 by checkpoint, but I see that's immediately locked down. So
there's the Sido is actually right next to it. They're really close to each other.
They're
like they might as well be kissing, you know. So
that's funny.
I mean, the thing that's kind of scaring me a bit is that there's this. He's playing this 76 quite far from his infantry, you know.
Right.
So like when this garrison wasn't here, it becomes kind of dangerous to have this 76 isolated, especially next to a cornfield, because that's when you get like, you know, the random AT guys sneak up, and it becomes kind of like annoying.
Yeah, it becomes a real problem.
It seems like Refuze has kind of like sent a few more infantry up to this north map edge now. They've realised the threat, and now they're pushing up.
Yeah, I think they're starting to feel that pressure a little bit in the north, and as Chimera tries to take that ground. So, good response. And then as far as West Bend, Chimera seems to be turtling a little bit. They really haven't taken much of that ground, despite having a light tank and a medium there. So I think it's going to be tough for them to break through. And is there armor at West Bend for Refuze as well? Is that what I'm saying?
There is a heavy there. There's a 76 in Western, well, just before Western Approach on the main road, so they're still in SME soft cap. But the problem is that the buildings in Western Approach are kind of like blocking the sight lines between the two sets of tankers.
Right. Oh, is that Luke's spot? Did it just show us at?
It did, but there's a big smoke right in the way, so we can't see shit.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. I was going to say, that was interesting, but no, yeah. Looks like it safety made it through.
There is an engineer. Centurion is... Oh, Centurion engineer versus engineer. Support all combat. Oh, he gets the satchel off. He gets the satchel off. He's the GOAT. He's the GOAT.
That's huge.
That's very big.
I don't think they know. They have no idea.
That was crazy. I mean, the thing that's really scary about putting satchels on at this ping is that the fucking Tiger or the 76 can just fucking absolutely teleport away, you know? Like, and you'll never know. It's so tilting. Or they'll just... Oh, and he gets a kill on the infantry as well. So that's 76 down.
Yeah, that's a great play from Centurion.
Yeah, Centurion, like, really goated with the source.
Well, see, now they're gonna have to take advantage of this, though. That should be a little bit of relief for their armor.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
the Lukes did go down south a little bit.
There's a Luke's fighting a Stuart here.
Yeah, that. I love the Lukes versus Stuart fights. Rocket into the Stuart though.
I think it just fell short. Wow, this is terrible.
Riveting gameplay.
Now the Lux.
Oh, there it is.
That was great from Tommy and from Fatigliz there, I think.
Yeah,
both landing rockets in basically simultaneously. That was. I think without that, the Stuart was fucked.
Yeah, way to save the Stuart there. That was great.
Like, that was very dangerous for the boys.
That P4 is going to go down south now, I think, though. It's going to probably make a run at the Stuart, I would imagine. So 30 minutes into the game, let's if you want to maybe get a map comparison up. Looks like Chimera up in the north at Hospice once again, still committing those 4 squads up there. They did lose their red zone garrison that was down in the south.
Yeah, Sid
so
probably got it. I mean, Sid lost his Sid lost his back zone garrison there as well, but he's replacing it.
Okay.
And we did just lose the garrison in E6. That controls
it looks like
the
that's
MG
Kingsey
house.
there. Take that down.
So.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like it's going to be a little bit static like this for a while. You'll probably have a couple of players break through on each side. Like Chimera, for example, have a couple of players behind the church and SME.
Yeah, we just saw a garrison light up, actually. And OPs. So we've got quite a few Chimera players sort of storming the beaches behind the point, as it were.
Yeah. And once again, it'll be interesting to see the response from Refuze, right?
We were just praising them earlier.
A couple of SLs here. Yeah. So they're going to have to continue doing that and not fuck it up, for lack of a better term. But it looks like just 2 SLs, though. I'm seeing Jams. Doesn't have an OP up quite yet. If he does get his OP up, oh no, he actually just got taken down. So just going to be 2 back there with his squad.
I mean, we did see earlier the damage that 1 SL can do, you know, basically reset the entirety of Chimera to their garrisons.
Right.
So there's no reason to say that Chimera can't do the same.
Yeah.
Got satchels
and
going off on the church.
And Refuze is even looking a little strong here. Okay, love to see that. Love to see those explosions.
We're down to only 4 garrisons on the map at the moment for Refuze, so it's not like the most insane situation, but we have got a medium Sherman coming up through the town and eating a rocket from Centurion again. Centurion goes down to Ficus. Chudmongers does get him, but he gets immediately traded out. That was brutal.
Good shots though there.
Yeah, I mean it was great play to get the first rocket off by Centurion. He's really doing some damage to not just like the armor itself, but to the mental health of the armor. And Sid gets
right.
Sid gets sprayed down by Kingsley on this this chimney. You know, the little jump prone through the window.
Yeah.
It's kind of gross, like honestly.
Oh, it's disgusting.
The
There are
annoying
very
thing
few
is that
things
the
that,
chimney's not the chimney you can't mount in every direction on for some reason.
Huh.
So you can only mount at 90 degrees to the chimney. So it
did
kind
not
of
know that.
limits what you can see. So it's like almost better to have a rifle up there, because at least then they can use like the ridge of the roof for cover.
Right.
And Bleach shot
Yeah.
shoots them in the back. You know, that's why it's not like great.
Yeah.
There's a really good
There are very
spot
few things
for us
that,
if you're using the FG-42 sniper in a like, public game.
Oh.
Hide on that
Yeah.
roof. Epic. Can't go
Yeah.
wrong.
Easy 100 kills.
Yeah. Looks like Sium is going for maybe a satchel on the church again, but there's no one in the
Yeah,
church.
We're actually seeing the P4 start to push in to the east as well. It's west of SME at the moment, a little bit southwest. Yeah. Curious to know if they try to make a push, but they're really not supported by that much infantry. And you got a couple of SLs living to the north. They're just kind of chilling out in the open.
Yeah, I mean the advantage with the P4 is you can't be threatened by infantry in front of you. So he only has to worry about the 76s, really.
Right.
So if it's a lot easier to sit in a field in a P4 than it is in a medium Sherman, you know.
Right. I love that Ice was just crawling across that field. I respect the effort.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the effort was futile in the end.
Yeah. And I'm looking at the map right now for Chimera. I'm just thinking, where's their team right now? It seems, I'm just not seeing a lot of their players on the map at all. A couple
Looks
players
like they're
over
all
on
dead.
Western Approach. Yeah.
Unironically, it looks like they're all dead.
I would love to see the kill feed in the last 30 seconds to know like what happened to this team, because they seem to be just they must have just lost all the gunfights, I assume.
Yeah, maybe they just got, like, there's not that many outposts up either. And I can see, like, on your map that there was a lot of kind of, like, wide flank outposts, you know? Like, maybe they're just kind of,
Down
like,
the
trying to,
south.
trying to sweep in. But honestly, I think the way that you win SME is by these gunfights in the town, you know? And, like, you should just push through West Bend and just try and clear it. Like,
Yeah, just get a couple players, get around the houses here, like we're seeing a Speff from Chimera here behind Logic. Logic, it looks like that OP digit wipes, Logic turns around, the Speff wins the gunfight.
I mean, you've got the advantage of having two people in every squad with STGs, right? Well, Zarkin absolutely shits on that guy. But like the double STG advantage should be so fucking strong, and there's no so most clans run like double squad leaders, right, for a particular designated. So you know, two squads, two mid. So you can technically have up to 4 STGs out of 7 players.
Right.
So there's no reason that you shouldn't be just absolutely curb stomping.
All the Grands.
Yeah,
the bars
exactly.
Even. Yeah.
I mean, just doing airbags, man. Just look at your radar, look at your minimap, and just kill people.
Right.
Like.
Yeah, and just win.
And the way you do it, I've found, is that you aim it towards their knees, and then you let the recoil of the STG hit them in the chest.
Right. It does the work for you, really.
Exactly, you know. Why go to extra effort when the gun literally does it for you?
Yeah.
We can see RF now actually start to push front door. They've swapped. I think they've swapped like quite a few squads from their south, which is why Chimera was able to push round the south a lot.
Yeah, and I think this, I honestly am seeing what looks to be a misplay from Chimera. They have one SL on their front door, and it is just the SL that spawned. Is probably going to get wiped, and we're seeing what I think is way too many SLs down in the south. I'm seeing 2 over at SME, 2 down in the south, another at Western, and not enough.
There's no reason to ever flip-flop away from your strong side on this map, I don't think. I think like this is way too loose, you know, like your main effort should be holding Hospice as Chimera, and because they're not using their tanks in Hospice, like for me,
Right.
losing West Bend, losing Western Approach is annoying.
Right.
But it's not gonna lose you the, it's not gonna lose you the point, right? Like all they can do from
At least not
Western
immediately,
Approach is just MG, right? And it's annoying. Don't get me wrong, it is annoying, but it's not what's gonna lose you the point by itself. But not having front door, I mean, this is just dog shit.
Did that even take out the garrison? I mean, it took out the garrison, it looks like, up at map edge, but that's about it.
Yeah, but like, there was no one there, you know? Like, that's just gonna get rebuilt instantly. There's like a billion squad leads up here, and and now they're actually making ground on the front door, and it's forced them to reset, and they're losing gunfights, you know? Like...
Yeah, I'm seeing the light tank Luke's is retreating from Route de Cross. I'm sure they know the 76 is up there in the north. And that's about it. Is there even a heavy up? Yeah, there's a heavy driving up from spawn right now, so the Tiger is in that high position for Chimera, so that should engage in the next couple of minutes, but Iron Infantry is just walking up the front door. Refuze Infantry, I should say. Is walking
yeah,
up
I mean,
the front door.
It's just a complete misplay from Chimera. Like, for some reason they're trying to gain E6 whilst losing their front door. Like they're so far from where they like need their strong side of the map to be. That
Yeah, and now I think you were seeing the call back. I mean, the south has been completely abandoned. Looks like, which at this point is the necessary call. But I think
but it
it's
should have been
too
it should
late.
never have had like that many people in the first place, you know.
Yeah.
You can have.
I understand trying to take ground, but at what cost, right?
You should have SLs sneaking in the south with no other squad members, right? Like,
Right.
and they're pulling in the Lux. They're pulling in like what 5 or 6 SLs. MGs are back.
Yeah.
Like everyone's in
That's
the
a
hard game
massive
now.
amount of players. Yeah.
And as I said, this garrison's immediately gone back up in Hospice.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Interesting. So now this is the interesting part here, right? Going from Hospice to Route, because it's really just a couple of lanes in the hedges that you can push, and then obviously
Yeah, it's not easy. It's like a big effort from artillery and tanks to get you in the front door, and the MGs in Hospice on the roofs make it really hard for you to push back out.
Right. Yeah, as far as the armor, I'm actually going to find the Tiger. It's over just north of flat position, it looks like. It is firing. I'm not sure if that's actually hitting the 76. Yeah.
I'm going to go over the 76 and maybe we can... Everyone's out of the
Yeah,
tank.
let's get that deal POV. Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
they didn't drive it forward enough, so now it's tanking shots in the arse.
Oh, wow. And this Tiger's out in the open. I think they know they can probably just nail it.
Yeah, I mean,
there it
like,
is.
they just didn't drive it forward far enough. Like, they weren't actually behind the hedge.
I mean, honestly, great work from the Tiger without taking a single shell, too.
Yeah, I mean, they're great.
That's great.
I was going to say name a
That's
more
tragic.
iconic duo than RF tanks and griefing, but obviously the correct answer is ESPT tanks and grafing.
Yeah.
Drive by.
Yeah. One of my favorite tank plays ever is Quick Nix and a Greyhound taking out a Tiger. I think on Utah, actually. Just soloing a Tiger. That's great. I think that was
My favourite tank play was when Havel took out our own recon tank with a precision strike.
Amazing.
I didn't even know it was
Love to
possible.
see that. Are there Refuze players in the back line, just south of flag position? I'm seeing the garrison.
Yeah, so it's the same SL, Timus, and his squad as before. So like the guys that whammoed onto Ruda Harass the first time.
Okay. Looks like he did lose his OP, so they must know he's there.
Yeah.
Well, Chimera seem to be resetting. They are once again focusing a couple of SLs down at Western Approach. Pretty light on garrisons. There's a total of 4 on the map. So it's yeah, not looking great, but I can see them at least trying to establish a push again. And I think this reset.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be tough. I don't see Chimera breaking through anytime soon, unfortunately, but we'll see if they can make something happen. It's going to take, I think, as you said, some coordination with artillery and armor.
Yeah, I think that in all honesty, Chimera lucked out on getting rid of Harass here, because I think if it was Western Approach, then they would have already lost the game. Like,
Yeah, no, I think that would have
5-0
lost
by this
immediately.
point already. But I think just due to the distance, like the hypotenuse between the two hard caps,
Right.
that it's like actually much harder for Refuze to mount an effective offense whilst maintaining the frontline defense as well at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. Chimera actually are taking some decent ground in the town just west of SME.
Yeah, we've
Again,
seen
these
them gain
gunfights
about
are going to be
150 meters in the last like 10 minutes.
yeah, about. That's Stewart's here though, so is that yeah, there's not a whole lot of infantry, so it's not really threatened at the moment. Seeing the Tiger lob shells from it looks like just west of Route de Hras now as well. What's the armor looking like for Refuze?
Kind of hard to tell. I mean, there's a Stuart and a medium Sherman in SME still, but I can't see the heavies off the top of my head.
Yeah, I'm
They've
not seeing it either. I'm not sure
they've
if they
got
have a
0
heavy.
fuel right now, so they've probably just spawned one,
Okay.
but I can't see it on the map. I'm
Yeah.
wondering if they lost it. Maybe a
Well, they lost
sneaky-
the 76 up north, right?
Yeah,
And they
but
got-
why do they only have one? You know, that's my question. Is normally you see 2 or 3 at this stage of the game.
At
So
this
maybe
point,
they did. Maybe Chimera managed to snipe it with something. You know, maybe they destroyed it before.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that recon tank that you've just seen was in their backlines destroying spawned.
Oh, it could be. Yeah.
Spawn
Yeah,
tanks.
yeah, it looks like that recon just got destroyed as well. I don't know what. There's an AT player. Okay.
Yeah, there was 2 AT players down there. So I'm wondering if they just destroyed it because we've got like only 100 fuel on RF side
Okay.
here. So.
Yeah, that must be the case. I mean, kudos to the Greyhound then, if that's the case, because that's.
Yeah, I mean they obviously snuck back and.
Yeah, and we're
That's
seeing a
what I think
second
happened, yeah.
heavy drive up from the north for Chimera as well. So 2 Tigers to
they should-
076s. That's looking good.
Yeah, I mean that's the advantage that Chimera need to actually push out of western approach here. I mean, to be honest, I think they should just send both of their Tigers north to Hospice and clear that out. Like that's like what I think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, they got a couple of SLs up there now. Having some armor to support would be fantastic. Get some RD just on the east side of Hospice, and I think you're looking good. But then you just got to make sure you're holding western approach, and don't lose that. So as far as seasonal, well, it looks like it's going to be pretty static for a moment here. Next week, or next weekend, I should say, are the semifinals. And I think as far as the bracket, you know, I don't pretend like I understand the bracket completely. But
Mate, there are
looks like
people in Oxford University who have PhDs in understanding brackets that don't understand this bracket.
it looks like they're going to play either, as I get this pulled up here. I definitely was prepared for this as I started talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Good
get our
transition.
brackets up. So yeah, it looks like they should be playing and there are a couple of options here. It'll be either the winner of GBI versus 82nd AD, who are playing Remagen.
Remagen right now, I think, on the
Right this very
Saltboats.
second. Yeah, that'll be interesting. I haven't checked in on that. Or the loser of WTH Helios or XT Greyhound. So
Yeah. So either they'll,
it's a toss-up at this point.
I think they'll be lucky if they get the loser of GBI 82 over.
Yeah. You don't want XT Greyhounds, WTH Helios. Yeah, I think.
I mean,
You're
Helios,
hoping.
Helios 82 AD, Refuze, GBI, they're all about the same kind of
I would agree. Yeah, about the same level.
tier. I think it's probably like dependent on what map and side and stuff, you know, like and who shows up on the roster. But we can see Chimera has actually finally taken the initiative and started to cook in the Hospice area, and they've actually managed to make ground, clear outposts, clear garrisons, and we see that they finally understood that they actually need to capture something to make an attack happen, and Refuze it down to a singular OP now up in the north.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's looking really solid. Looks like for Refuze, it's just going to be Squirrel is the final SL up here. Seeing Satchels go off now as well. Let's see if Pufferfish can get the frag on this SL. He's going to hop the wall. Should see Squirrel here. Oh, he's just going to go for the garrison. There's no P-spawn, though. Does he stick it?
Is he going to get away with it?
They have
He
no
does.
idea.
That's outrageous.
He's going to get the frag. He doesn't get the frag, but still takes the garrison down. That's huge.
Yeah, that's big. That should buy them a few seconds to get some more more manpower up here, and they cleared Baker squad. They killed Q.
Do I hear shotgun? Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I think
Azarkey.
it's yeah. I mean,
Love to see
as
that.
much as the shotgun is terrible, it's probably my favourite gun. Oh, it's just so satisfying. Yeah. It's so ass.
Yeah.
See, bombing run from Refuze going in through West Bend.
Yeah. Looks like the infantry's gonna try to push with that. Doesn't take out any spawns really, but does wipe some of the infantry there.
Sid just got absolutely butt blasted by the P4. Later, nerd.
Cito.
Oh, dear.
Oh, I love Cito.
Dear.
Okay.
Bro just got fucking cooked.
Yeah. Looking at the situation, Refuze, and this happens all the time, right? You lose some ground in the north if you're Refuze, but you do take ground over at western approach.
Yeah.
That armor there, I'm seeing as well, yeah.
And they've actually got some SLs behind western approach as well, so they're going to sandwich in and take it. I think this is fine. I think they just want to force them out of western, and they're sacrificing hospice to force them out of western approach, because it's much easier to defend western approach with fewer people than it is to defend hospice. So if they can take western approach, they can hold it with fewer people, right? So they don't have to commit as many men to defending that, and then they can re-attack hospice with larger numbers, and then they can hold both areas.
Yeah,
mathematically, this is the correct play.
Yeah, it's a huge influx of players now in hospice for Chimera. I'm seeing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 OPs up in that sector. So they're really going to try to take this ground from Refuze.
I probably just need to park a tank on... Oh, look, there it is. So they probably just need to park a tank on the main road, and they've got a medium Sherman watching the main road. So that should do a lot of work for them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. 40 minutes left now. Time is ticking away. There's still plenty of time to make something happen if you're Chimera, but Refuze, honestly, not looking super comfortable, if I'm being honest. I mean, they obviously have the mid cap at the moment, but I don't see them, don't really see them taking the ground that they need to. Obviously, they're making progress at western approach, and that's no problem. You know, that's great. But losing hospice, that's going to be a problem here in a couple of minutes. So
It's going to be really difficult for them to cap it back.
Yeah, that's gonna be. It'll be interesting to see. But I mean, Chimera looking really strong up in the north. Looking at armor, they do have 3 heavies in play now as well. 2 of them over at Route to Haras, 1 coming up from the mid HQ as well. So having those 3 Tigers, that's gonna be huge for them. And we'll see what they do. Now, looking at OPs, at least from the Chimera side, again, you have those 5 up in the north. That's gonna be really helpful. And with the time left, 40 minutes, I mean, I feel like you really just got to start pushing down south and get into over in SMA. But we are seeing what looks to be... Yeah, already still shelling some of these Refuze players. Is that going to be the Steward backing up? That is the Steward backing up. And if you're just tuning in, we are currently watching Refuze versus Chimera. This is a game on SME. And the loser of this game does get eliminated from Seasonal. So, big game for both of these teams.
Oh,
obviously, the winner moving on to play next week. Welcome back.
Yeah, so I mean, not much is changing, if we're being honest. I mean, RF have managed to restabilize hospice. They've got their... Able squad managed to get their outpost up on the map edge. And we also managed to see them replace that garrison, so they've stabilized. They'll get a couple of outposts up there. Looks like they lost the medium Sherman.
Yeah, I did see that Stewart retreating as well. I think it's the right play. You got 3 Tigers in play now.
The precision seems like it actually took out
oh, you know
Tiger.
What? Yeah, it did. You're right.
They've got 1 more Tiger in Ruda Haras. I think for both teams, I think both teams will be pretty happy with the map situation at the moment.
Yeah, it just seems to be a bit of a flip-flop, right? You got Chimera looking good up in hospice, Refuze looking good at western approach. Just about breaking through now. You got to take both of those, and then if one team does that, I think you take the point. You know, whether it be Route to Haras or St. Mary Glees.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm seeing a couple of Chimera players, a couple of SLs down in the south. It looks like they probably will try to establish something again. But as you said, I think the right call is just to leave it as it is. Just send a couple of SLs. You don't need infantry down there at all. Just establish yourselves. Try to take that ground with just those couple of people. And we'll see if that happens in the next couple of minutes.
And again, unfortunately, I think they might run into the 76. They're actually pushing up. So that might flush them out of their cover. But we can see Hospice still not completely under control, because you see these outposts are still lighting up, and somehow they've still got RF have still got Chimera players to the south of them. So even though they're pushing out, they've still got this like bubble of Chimera people behind them.
Right. Yeah, and actually a lot of those OPs have gone down, so SLs are going to have to reset here, get those reestablished. There's really only 1 or 2 now in that sector. Western, though, looking like Refuze are really close to taking this. I mean, they had the Stewart pushed up here.
Yeah, I think once you've
Infantry's
captured
getting
the
really
main
close.
buildings and you force them back into the ruins, it becomes like very difficult to do anything about.
Yeah, and with Chimera players going down in these gunfights, I should say. Yeah, this will be really interesting to see. Is that smoke already, AC? I think that is smoke already. That's interesting.
I guess maybe, but that seems like a bad choice. Got absolutely monstered by the tiger that was lying in wait. Stuart goes down. But I think it's not going to be enough to make the difference on the cap unless they drive the tiger up there. You know? So, while Nitro is struggling with a blue screen, I will endeavour to carry as best as I can. So we can see that we've got some Chimera players that are just about kind of like holding on to the last vestiges of control that they have left in Western approach here. But one thing that Refuze is really, really good at is actually landing rockets in garrisons. So they have several players that all they do all day, every day is snipe the shit out of the garrisons with their rocket launchers. So we can actually see that the bombing run kind of clears out the front line of RF and resets them to their outposts. And Centurion again going for a push onto Timus, but Timus clears him. MG's back in the previous row of buildings, are going to hold them at bay for the time being. Just holding that hedge line so they can't actually push around. Get a bit more difficult for them.
I'll get my screen up here momentarily for you.
No worries. I think RF looks in a stronger position than they did 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, it looks like they're getting, at least trying to get reestablished up in Hospice now. I think once they get their armor, I think in a better position. Like, is that a heavy down in the south there?
Yeah, it's just chilling. It's vibing. I think it's looking to get a flank onto the tiger that's behind Western. I think it's trying to get around the back of him, or at least to the side.
Right.
And he
that's one thing I feel
off,
like
cutting off the infantry from being able to re-push it. So he's holding this angle, so the tiger can't push up without taking shots first from the 76 that's here, and the infantry can't get across this field basically because nothing in this wee field renders in from this distance.
Yeah, and I feel like what we've seen is some pretty good plays from the tank crews from Chimera. Haven't seen anything particularly crazy from the Refuze tanks just yet. I'm sure it'll be
been a bit tame, I think, but
yeah,
by the book, you know, nothing too exciting.
Right.
But RF infantry is really like the star of the show today, I think.
Oh, 100%. I think winning these
that was a
gunfights-
massive
that's
shell
huge.
from Nick. That was huge. Like shells like that from the RT are actually game changing. Like that could really be the thing that prevents them from getting outposts up and shit. And be the reason that a point falls is a shell like that. Beastoo's risking the wrath of Quick Nicks, and he does get the garrison.
Wow.
He does get killed by
Yeah.
Quick Nicks in revenge. You know, it stops his farm.
No good deed goes unpunished, as they
Yeah.
say. That's great, though. Getting
Having
the
played with-
down, that shell was huge.
Having played with Nick and Kendrick and Wakanda and Acton, I've
Yeah.
probably, you know, been on teams where we have the highest percentage of team kills from RT out of anyone, you know, so it's not something I'm unused to.
Right. That's great. But you know what? Those are the plays you got to make, though. And I think they did a really, really good job of working together and getting that garrison down. And it looks like it should be paying off here momentarily.
Yeah, I think some of the, sometimes you just have to take the L, take the personal L for the team and just get the garrison at the risk of being team killed, you know?
Oh, yeah, of course. Whether it be like a garrison, you see an airhead, he's got to make the play. And that's really great work there to make that happen.
And they now basically have complete control over Western approach.
Right.
Last couple of holdout infantry guys, but no SLs, so it's going to be really difficult for them to repush this now once Refuze gets their MGs and armor up into the hard cap. They're getting pounded from 2 Tigers, so Chimera have 3 Tigers now, 2 in
2 up north
harass, and 1 behind Western.
Yeah, the problem is though with Western you have the Tiger back there, you got 2 SLs, but there's 0 OP, 0 garrisons. I'm not sure if you can see my map. I think that should be up and running. If it's not, then
Yeah, it is. Yeah,
let me know.
Back.
Okay. Yeah, and there's 1 squad here on SME, being a nuisance here. But I mean, look at the flares here.
Brief cap progress, but I think it's just hard cap pressure. They just have 1 or 2 guys in the hard cap, and then but once they get cleared out, I think it's.
This is a massive reset for Chimera. I mean, look at Hospice, look at Western. It's not looking good. I'm looking great for Refuze.
Yeah, Refuze must be really, really happy with this because they had a couple of moments where it was looking a bit spicy. Let's say looking a bit spicy.
Right.
But now we're back to. We've reset them to their garrisons. If I'm Refuze, and I'm much happier with how the game state looks, even if there is cap pressure again. I think it's just the guys in the hard cap.
It's just the 1 squad. Yeah, it's 1 squad. Looks like 4 guys. One of them just went down. It's not really a threat at the moment. It looks like.
The question will be how do Refuze perceive the threat? Are they overcommitting, undercommitting? But it looks like they've just seen it's 1 or 2 guys, and they're using their defensive squads just to sweep the area. They're using their outposts and garrisons as a radar.
As radar, yeah.
2 flares up. I don't think they'll be too worried.
This is looking pretty dire for Chimera. Their garrison was locked out briefly at Western Approach. Looks like it's locked out again. And I'm seeing 1, 2, 3. Is that 4 OPs from Refuze in that D5 sector? That's quite a lot. Yeah.
I mean, it's where you need them now, because once you control the town, everything else becomes these are just all open fields, right? And it's just not possible to push past once you've got the high ground in the buildings.
Chimera dropping an airhead just south of SME. Looks like they're throwing smoke already down.
Nice.
Or at least there's a marker for Artie, so I assume there's going to be some smoke already dropping here momentarily. There's
they've got good control over
as well.
They've got good control over the area, so this is definitely a comfortable place to put
Yeah.
And
this would be interesting.
And they're locking out the garrison as well.
Okay, that could be interesting. Yeah, that could be big actually.
Yeah, and if you get the airhead in, this is definitely Chimera's chance to get something done. They've built their own garrison here.
Yeah. It is locked out as well, but the garrison is there. That being said, though, they did just lose their garrison over at Hospice, and it looks like Refuze players are kind of in that red zone.
Yeah, they're pushing up the front door.
Yeah. Airhead is down now. Let's see if... I'm curious to know how much they commit to this, right? how much do you send? Because however many you send, that's how many you're losing.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Garrison
the airhead
gets
actually was down.
rocketed.
Garrison, the airhead's down as well.
Oh, I must have been too close to each other.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
That's a bit of a mistake from Chimera squad lead to build the garrison so close to the air, so you lose both of them in one fell swoop there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Well, it is again looking a little bit dire. That garrison is locked out at Western Approach as well. Tiger
Got the
is
armor
there.
advantage still.
Yeah.
They're trying to use the Tigers now to push into. Use a Tiger to push into Western, so maybe that can get some more
back on for them. Yeah, that garrison just went down actually.
Yeah, there was a satchel on the wall, I think.
Yeah. So under 30 minutes to go now.
Oh, we've got a fight between the 76 and the Tiger shaping up.
Okay, we'll back up.
Oh no, it's
here.
actually it's an AT gun, I think. It's the AT gun.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, and they just got a hit on the Tiger as well. Another hit onto it.
The MG's doing more work than the.
Wow.
But it's enough. It was enough to make them pull back out of the houses. So it's given them some freedom
to wiggle room. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Howl at least is a game of inches. You know, it's very rarely like one big play that decides the map. It's usually like a series of small decisions made by lots of individuals that make or break a team. So having that Tiger pull out for a minute to, you know, repair and shit is going to give these guys an extra minute to get better outposts, to get their MG set up, to maybe build more AT guns, all that kind of stuff that's just like so big.
Yeah, and with such little, well, I mean, there's still obviously time, but I don't see Chimera. Number one, I don't see them losing route to Harass, not with the armor that they have, but I don't see, unless the tanks dive and make some magical play happen, I don't see them coming back to the SME, but you know, there is still time.
Again, like this game is like really similar to what we saw from TL versus ESPT, I think, in this previous seasonal, where we saw, you know, the last minute ditch attempt where TL had the armor advantage and they had to drive all of their Tigers and Panzer IVs across the backfield with SME. You know, Gorilla led the charge on that one, I think, and that's like about the only way you can do it. You need to. They've had tank advantage all game, but I think they just need to do like, you know, wait 5-10 minutes. You know, wait till the last 10-15 minutes of the game, and then just do some kind of like RP tank column shit where you just drive all the fucking tanks into the point, and if it works, it works, and it looks epic. If it doesn't, you just look like a bit of a goon. You know, you haven't lost anything by making a play in the dying moments of the game, but you need to make sure you get all your tanks to that time.
Right. And this is one thing we see teams like FOC, they used to do this beautifully, where they just stack 5 tanks, and then the last 10 minutes they take the point from you, and that kind of stuff is insane to see. It doesn't work every time, obviously, but when it does, it's
it's
really
one
of
beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just going to be really difficult because to get RF out of the areas, but they lost all 4 of the outposts in Western Approach now, so you know, with the help of the Tiger, Chimera are actually starting to slowly push them back, and I think it's just a microcosm of what we've seen all game, where RF win the gunfights, but then are let down by their armor not being able to back them up. So even after they've cleared all the infantry out, they just drive a Tiger back in, and nobody's really challenging the Tigers with with the 76s.
I mean, we saw the AT gun, which was nice to see, but I mean, you know, we're an hour into the match, and that's the first AT gun that we've seen, you know.
Yeah,
So
I mean, they've got a few set
armor.
up, but it's like it's not enough volume in one area. It's not enough density of AT guns to actually like make or break the armor. We've seen
this bombing run again from Chimera. I'm sorry to interrupt you for a brief moment.
Yeah, no.
I don't understand the logic behind these. I mean, there's no garrison there to take out. I mean, I think we're seeing a Refuze bombing run getting called in a moment as well.
Yeah,
And
similar
I
sort of
like the
position.
usage of the Refuze bombing run, or Refuze's use of the bombing runs, where they're just using them to clear out infantry and take the ground versus
Yeah,
using the
exactly.
bombing
It
run
just
to-
makes more sense to me.
Yeah, you know, versus potentially taking out a Garrison. It doesn't, even that, as we've seen earlier, has little effect on the match.
You're just better off using a rocket to do that job, you know.
Right. Yeah, it's gonna take out a couple of them.
Again, I think the bombing run is just shit. Like, just in general.
Yeah.
Like, I think in a game, in a comp game where you're optimizing, like, spacing better, where there's
Right.
literally just more distance between each of your infantry players because you're actually playing a front line. Like, a bombing run is just, like, so dross. Like, it just does nothing, you know? Like, it...
Right.
what's the point of them, you know?
Well,
They barely
yeah,
touch the sides.
in a 90-minute game, yes, you can take out a spawn that can get immediately rebuilt, or yes, you can take out, you know, infantry that'll allow you to take that ground. But if you lose that ground in 5 minutes, then what does it really matter, you know?
Yeah, exactly. It's like... it's so much munitions, so many munitions, so much of that resource, and you get, like, 2 kills out of it. You know, it's just like, oh, God, who gives a shit?
Right. You're seeing
it-
actually a decent amount of infantry in SME from Chimera. It looks like they do have 2 OPs up.
Okay.
And it's going to be 2 squads that are almost full, actually. Supply drop did drop supplies as well, and that supply truck is actually moving toward hospice as well.
There's a lot of
So they have a
Chimera players
garrison
behind
established now.
the point now.
Yeah, no, this is
Chimera's
good.
big
Getting
move,
those
yeah,
couple of SLs there.
This looks really dangerous for Refuze. They're gonna have to redirect
Actually-
one of their 76s here as well, I think.
I'm seeing a Peace Strike coming in from Chimera east of SME. Is there a tank in D5?
It's probably on the garrison. Probably on the garrison.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Interesting use of.
Oh no way!
Oh, is that gonna? Oh, that's huge.
Oh, the timing! It missed the garrison though. It missed the garrison though.
no.
Oh!
Oh,
fucking-
that's hilarious.
It's a disaster, mate. It got like mental victory, but not like not a long lasting one, you know. It like
Yeah,
actually that's
no.
a morale victory for Chimera, but they're still
Well, see,
like flooding
Here's the
the
problem now. The garrison is locked out, and there are still only 2 SLs behind there. So they're gonna have to play off these 2 OPs. There are people pushing in from Western approach now.
RF
but
are
wow.
resetting. I think it's like looking a bit dangerous here.
A bit, yeah, and that garrison did go down, so Chimera's gonna have to take this with just OPs now, and
I
sector
think
weight,
they'll be able
but they
to
might
because
do it.
RF are too far from the hard cap to use the reinforce, so they're not actually getting
Yeah.
any value out of the reinforce.
Yeah. Oh, okay. there it
Briefly
is.
flashing
There's the contest.
contested, defending,
Oh,
contested,
wow.
losing. Hiya!
Oh, this is so
Oh,
close.
it's tense.
That you think my populated infantry long enough this doesn't happen. At this point, there's a lot of food back in the sector.
Yeah.
Looking at the aerial view now, I think
Yeah,
they
they've just
might
managed to get a
defend
spawn
this.
wave off that garrison as well behind, and I think they're just gonna scrape it. Nice rocket in through the window.
Chimera still only have 2 OPs. There's a lot of SLs there,
Ooh.
but if they want to take this, these SLs pushing from Western need to get their OPs down and get people
Yeah.
into those OPs now.
I mean, that was just. I mean, it's probably bought them a few minutes though, right? Like that's the thing is that this
Right.
is reset RF away from Western
Right.
approach. They've just lost a outpost on the way to Rita Harass. Their tanks have had to turn around from doing something offensive towards Rita Harass. Like it's just it's kind of it's turned it around a lot. I think that's like definitely.
Yeah, no, great work from those 2 SLs to make that happen. The Peace Strike delaying infantry. I obviously would have been better to take garrison out, but that's okay.
I mean, there was a mental health victory achieved for Chimera there, you know.
Imagine spawning there, and as infantry, you just get Peace Strikes. That's
Jesus, I mean,
amazing.
like the Peace Strike for the Axis is significantly worse than the Peace Strike for the Allies as well, which doesn't help. Because
right.
the Peace Strike from the Axis is the Stuka, and it only has 1 bomb, and it lands exactly where you point it, right? whereas the
Tiger's
Allies
dodging
one
the
is...
point, by the way. It's coming in from Western.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they're going to commit to this.
Yeah, I like it, I like it.
Route to Haras is flashing, but I'm not sure how many infantry they actually have there. It looks
One.
like just one squad. Yeah.
One, no, not one squad, it was one dude. It's
Oh, just
Timus
one
again.
dude.
Yeah, it's just Timus again. He's on his way.
Oh,
On y va,
nice.
monsieur, on y va.
Yeah, that point's flashing contested again. I mean, there's potential here.
It's a lot of soft cap pressure. They're slowly like ramping up the pressure here.
Oh, actually, you know what? This might be an overcommit. They just lost their garrison at Western Approach. Chimera have one garrison on the map right now, and it's not even at route to Haras. That's not great. They need to.
There's no way.
They need to fix this immediately. I'm not sure if they're aware, but this could be very, very bad here in just about a minute. Yeah, route
starts going. I mean, they're going to have two. Ice and Timus and Sid are there, and they're going to get a garrison up in the north side.
Yeah.
Oh, Zarkin absolutely fucking shit on Complete. He's going again. Oh, mate, he couldn't clean up Centurion, but he's created some pressure. He's killed 2 out of the 3 tankers in the tank with the shotgun, so you got to respect it. I can't see a satchel anywhere, but
the Tiger's gonna be out of commission for a minute. Looks like okay, garrisons are up again. We have one on route to Haras for Chimera, one at Western again, one at Flag. So that was a bit scary for a moment there, though.
Yeah, not great. Not great from. I mean, they're kind of flooding back to the point, but Ice has gone for the garrison, and Dog Squad OP's up, and so Sierra Squad. Alele Blue, as it were. We've got this. We've got another
completely abandoned by both teams, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, kind of. I mean, our Hospice still has a 76 pushing through, and Able Squad are now pushing up as well. So they've got control. So you don't need to like maintain man presence there, so long as you've got control over the field in front of it, and you're certain there's no one there, right?
Yeah. From Chimera, there's not a single player up there. So. Yeah, that 76 still in sector for SME, but they're backing up. They've lost all their infantry support, so that's gonna be. That was a bit scary there for Refuze for a moment there.
Both points are contested.
Yeah, Reinforce actually down at route to Haras. That's interesting.
I guess
sure they know. Are there even that many players there?
There's a couple of outposts, and they've got a garrison as well. So, I mean, the thing is, right, is if you use it now, you can use it again before the end of the game.
Right. So you might as well use it now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I can see the argument going both ways, but like I would prefer to use it the maximum number of times. And we see the point going towards. We see SME going towards.
Yeah, it just looks like soft cap. It's nothing
where they've lost the front
I think.
from Western, I think.
Yeah, second Tiger coming in though, the one that you mentioned just a minute ago, that is going to be moving toward SME. So they could be attempting this push once again.
He's taking rockets in the arse from Fuse. Well, the second one bounced from Eden.
Okay. I'm going to step away for just a moment.
We can see we've got a push from behind Western Approach from Fuse. It doesn't mean they've sacrificed the front door a bit, so maybe we can see them sweep up this infantry that's threatening the front of the point. And we can actually see that the pressure is starting to mount on Rue de Haras, because that reinforce is still up and they were still slowly capturing. You can see the reinforce is still there. Tigers are pulling back because they realise that they've not got the infantry support around them, and they are starting to lose Rue de Haras quite strongly here. I was told to join this squad before the game and in the game, but they're now using this squad as a flank squad, so I'm a bit concerned that I'm taking up the spot from someone. Sounds like a them problem, to be honest with you. Just letting them know they can kick me from the squad. And you can see this Tiger's now taking shots in the front. Pretty sure from 1 or 2 of these 76s, Tiger goes down.
Oh, that's going to be a huge loss for
Yeah, I
Chimera.
mean I think that's the point for them now, because they've got both of the Tigers pushing up. Infantry squeezed the Tiger out of Western, and they were still slightly capping even when they had the reinforce running. So.
Oh yeah, that's looking really dire, and that situation changed really quick. I mean, the Tigers coming back now from SME.
It was just because
that's going to be late.
Chimera overcommitted pressure into the Western and the front door, and didn't realise that they'd forgotten to hold the front of Rita Harass as well.
Right.
And they just
leaving hospice abandoned, and to be fair, they got pushed out of hospice, right?
Yeah.
Point, but still, losing that's a massive problem for them. The medium tank is coming in with the P4, and even then, it's
you see a big deployment into
one
Western.
Play off of. Yeah. Ideally, those players move north immediately.
Yeah, but I mean, good luck getting across this field.
Yeah, that's a gamble. I feel like you're almost better off just spawning the garrison close to hard cap.
I mean, I would just be spawning in HQ almost at this point, in flag position. I would not be respawning into Western approach.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate for Chimera. It looks like they should lose this point here. Going to be reset to flag with 11 minutes left. So that's devastating.
Yeah,
and they had a couple of really good opportunities, and they've just been completely pushed back to their last point.
Yeah, I mean, Chimera's tanks have played this really, really well. I think that they've just been let down by people losing gunfights.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. And you know, in these close quarters gunfights in the town, obviously ping is certainly an issue for infantry, I would imagine. Do we know what region is this server? Is this
it's US West,
US West,
so it should favour the Australian team, from what I understand.
Actually, yeah. I will eat my words there. That's interesting.
So, 76 goes down to a frontal push from the Tiger. So that was a bold play from the 76. I think they've kind of just thrown away their advantage on.
Yeah, at the same time, though, the P4 goes down from Chimera. I'm seeing just one P4 left way up in the north map edge, and that's going to be about it.
Refuze has 176 in the hard cap and in Rita Harass, and one pushing up through the town behind. So they've still got two heavy tanks in the game.
Yeah, if you're Refuze at this point, you just hunker down at route and just close out the game here.
Yeah, I mean, flag position's kind of disgusting, right? Like, it's just really open.
Yeah. Right.
So I can see a world in which RF just choose not to attack, but if it was XD, we would definitely still be pushing for 5-0.
Right.
It's a big open field, so it's kind of...
Yeah, good luck defending that, I guess, huh?
Yeah, I mean...
if they make it past this next hedge here, I think, they're looking really solid to just knock them out here and get the 5-0. And quite literally knock them out of the tournament, as this is an elimination game.
Yeah. It's life or death for Chimera now. I think, to be fair, it's situations like this where you kind of, you get the moment if RF crumble here and they don't set their garrisons properly, and you know, if they crumble here, this is where you get pushed back 2 or 3 caps in one go. That's definitely they just lost another heavy tank.
Right.
So it's 1v1 heavy tanks wise now, and the 76 isn't even in soft cap sector, and RF only have control over the one main road and the hard cap. They're not even pushed out to the south of the point at all.
Right.
So a good bombing run maybe, and or you know, some good artillery, plus this 76 plus a Tiger pushing into the hard cap at the same time. I think there's like a very good chance we see the point flip.
Yeah, no, Refuze not looking very comfortable here defending route at the moment. So Chimera have an opportunity here. They just need to do it quickly. You know, whatever tricks they have up their sleeve. They do have 660 fuel. Munitions and manpower obviously pretty low at this point in the match, so as far as any, you know, crazy tricks, it's gonna be a little bit tight. That being said, route does start going away into Chimera.
Yeah, I think Chimera just had better pressure and Refuze doesn't have anything south of the hard cap in the soft cap. So with the tank going down, like this Tiger and this Lux can just do whatever they want, basically.
Yeah, just start harassing the infantry there.
Yeah, I think they're just going to drive them into the hard cap and clear them out. I don't think RF can hold on to this unless the 76 can do something about the tanks.
Right, but you really want to just dive in your 76. That's right now the play.
No, I think it's fine to sacrifice this point. If you have to, I think Sid will understand that, and Sid will be prepping garrisons and defences for SME.
No, that's true too, yeah.
I think we could use...
As long as you know you're covered, I suppose, yeah.
They've got a fair number of mines on the map and stuff, so like it's going to be difficult, but I think there's like definitely an opportunity for Chimera to throw a cheeky last minute airhead. And we see this bombing run coming in from Refuze to clear the front of the point. But I think it's too little too late.
Yeah, I don't see them holding on to this very much at all. Which is okay, right?
It's fine, yeah. I mean, losing the fourth
back.
not the end of the world. I mean, it's bought them 15 minutes in the game, right? Like the plays to get here and the plays to kind of like hold on to it as well. Bought them 10-15 minutes of time, and they keep contesting as well, so they keep stringing them along here, and it's giving Sid a chance to make sure that SME is as comfortable as possible. We're sort of riding SLs in trucks and things around the point, so
yeah, I'm sure you're feeling pretty safe at this point in time. Good effort from Chimera though.
Yeah, Chimera recapping this point is pretty big. I mean, it's not just... I think that whilst we said at the start it was likely that RF would win this game based on, I think, the skill disparity of recent strength of schedule, that kind of thing. Chimera showed us that we shouldn't have counted them out so harshly at the start, and that if you recap this fourth point as Chimera, I think it's like quite a big thing to say, oh, we only lost 3-2, or we had a chance at winning 3-2, rather than saying, oh, stomped 3-1 in the last minute, when the point does go back to Chimera.
Yeah, very respectful. Love to see that. Yeah, so now the question is, right, what do you do? I think the only shot here is a sneaky airhead, get that smoker already down again, dive your tanks, and just hope for the best, right? 5 minutes left, 3 minutes to start.
Yeah, I think like the only thing you can do is drive whatever tanks you've got in a straight line at the hard cap right now, because otherwise you don't physically have enough time. They've got 2 Tigers, so I think just drive them across the fucking field and just go for it. You've got a free ball.
Yeah, send it. And it looks like they should be here in a moment. The 2 Tigers are lining next to each other. Should be able to double tap. Is that the 76 up there?
Yeah, they did just absolutely shrek that 76. Yeah. Just double tapped it right up.
Yeah, that's great. Here comes a little Stewart though. Gonna harass at least one of them. Yeah, here comes the dive.
I mean, like most of the RF players have now reset to SME.
Right.
Which I think is great. Like, that's definitely what you have to do.
Garrison can just get established from Chimera near SME, southwest of it. Stewart goes down? Is that Stewart?
Yeah, Stewart just went down.
Yeah.
To a P4.
Yeah, there's the P4. Time is ticking now, though. Time to make the play.
Yeah, you got 2 minutes left. I think, I think that's enough time for the airhead. I mean, to be honest, I wish that Chimera would cap so I could take this wig off, because it is boiling hot and making my head itch.
I did hear in the UK it's been a bit of a heat wave.
Yeah, I mean everyone's making fun of us because it's like 25 degrees, but
yeah, I was making fun of you guys. It was hilarious.
Most of us are fine with that kind of temperature. Just go to the pub,
Yeah, there you go.
Sinking back some cold ones.
Well, here comes the dive now. The problem is there's at least one AT player here. It could just absolutely fuck one of these 76. There's just one rocket.
You see cap pressure back onto Ruda Harass, actually.
Oh, okay. Second rocket into the 76. Okay.
There were some attempts at some rocket snipes onto RF back garrisons as well from Chimera.
Okay.
Which was pretty close, but I think that cap pressure might have just scared Chimera a bit, and now they're not going to do anything. I think
That's unfortunate.
I think it's too late.
Yeah, there's no airhead down. There's one garrison. I think we're about to see a spawn bomb south of SME, and they would be in sector.
Yeah, I think like that positioning is fine as well because there's not that many RF players around. But I think it's like
at this point, what can you do?
Yeah, they're sending the Tiger in now. It's just eaten a couple of rockets already.
Oh, there's the rocket. Yeah, that's looking really unfortunate. But I mean, I respect the number of attempts they made and how close they actually got to reach.
Yeah, I mean, it was really spicy for a minute. And they can definitely like hold their heads up high after this game. It wasn't a stomp by any means.
No, not at all.
I think they goofed their opener.
Yeah, here's the spawn bomb. 18 seconds. Oh wow, yeah, that is quite literally the entire team. Not the entire team, but that's quite a few people.
It's flared as well, so they know it's coming.
Oh no, yeah. 3, 2, 1. Yeah, and that's gonna be a GG.
Yeah. GG. Well played to both teams. I think Refuze might actually get the 4-1 here.
Yeah, they have time to do it.
I think the Refuze play what I would describe as like mathematically correct Howl Let Loose.
Right.
So, and what I mean by that is it's sometimes a bit unimaginative, and you won't necessarily see them win tournaments, but they'll win important games that matter because they play the game how it should be played. You know, like if there's like a technical aspect, then you know like they'll work out really good rocket snipes for garrisons, for example, you know, or they'll balance their forces between offense and defense really well. Yeah, that kind of thing, right? But they lack sometimes the flair and the panache to kind of like to one up the top teams.
Yeah, once you break into that, you know, that top 4, that's really tough to outsmart a lot of these teams and to outplay them.
So the way I view it is that, you know, like when XD lost to them the other week on Utah, they played WN7, the South Point on Utah, mathematically correctly the entire time. You know, they didn't attack really. They just held the same sight lines, the same MG positions, all this kind of shit, right?
Right.
And it was the correct way of playing it. But would they be able to do it on a point that isn't so favoured towards them? I don't know.
Yeah, no. And that's really what separates, I think, 'cause, you know, people always like to talk about how, you know, like the top 4 teams, the skill gap between them and, you know, the rest of the teams in HLO is just so huge and it's so hard for teams to beat that.
I think you win a lot of that in draft. And it's why I'm kind of excited for today's game, because we're playing elmination Axis versus Greyhounds, and I'm kind of excited to see how that
yes. That'll be
pans out. So well played to both teams. Big congratulations to Refuze. So they're still in the seasonal. They've still got everything to play for. Well, not everything, but I think they can still play for 5th position.
Yeah, I'll take a look at the bracket here. Yeah, so they do move on to next weekend's game. Again, they're going to be playing either really one of like 6 teams. It'll be the winner of GBI 82nd AD, the loser of XD Greyhounds, or the loser of WTH Helios.
Yeah.
I think if you Refuze, you're hoping for a Helios matchup.
So in my eyes, it's probably going to be Helios, Greyhounds, and I don't know which side of the river the point is on for the Remagen game, so I can't comment on the victor of that one. You know, but I think they'll be hoping for a Helios or probably an 82 game, because at least when they're playing 82, they can play at European time when they can field their strongest roster.
Right.
Which is going to be like really important for them, because it is difficult to launch, you know, a 50-man team at like, you know, 11, 10, 11 midday on a Sunday. You know, people have got stuff to do.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I'm actually I'll find out here what point the bridge is on. Everyone in chat already knows this, obviously, and the game actually would be over technically by the time.
Yeah, yeah, probably they're ending about the same time.
Yeah, and it looks like it is the bridge.
Oh, that's sick. Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. So that's actually really great.
We can tune
Currently,
into that.
82nd AD, at least as of 30 minutes ago.
Cool.
82nd AD holding that, but who knows? The game is over by now. By the time you guys are hearing this on stream.
Yeah. So yeah, so we can only say
really exciting game though. I
Yeah.
feel like that actually was not a bore fest that I think we sometimes see on SME.
Yeah, I think both teams are really giving it a shot, which is more than you can ask for on like a lot of occasions where both teams are just sort of going, you know, after like 45 minutes of SME, kind of like you tune out and whatever. But
right,
yeah, both teams played really well. Congratulations to Refuze, and thank you very much for joining me, Mr Nitro. I appreciate you volunteering to wake up at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
and entertain me and the ladies and gentlemen for a bit this morning.
Yeah,
so I appreciate that.
No, I very much appreciate you having me. Very excited to join you again for another stream soon.
Cool. Yeah.
It is currently 4:30 a.m. I'm gonna get my happy ass to sleep, and then I will wake up to tune into your game on LL Main.
Cheers, dude. See you later. Have a good day, and we'll turn
You
off
as well.
the stream. And thank you very much, everyone.